Spencer Vick, one of the more sought-after GOP free agents, that's a fundraiser, said the donor community is going to get behind candidates that, like Mr. Bush, actively embraced immigration reform. And you know what that means. It goes on to say, quote, if someone, this is what I want you to hear, if someone wants to be serious about running for president, they need to be in a similar place, close quote. It came from during a conference, one of these conferences you weren't invited to, I suppose. A conference called the GOP Donors, organized by the Partnership for New American Economy. Goes on, here's others on the conference call Tuesday said that any Republican who wants to be taken seriously by major GOP donors in the nomination race must clearly spell out where they are on this issue. If we're going to win this election, you are going to have to change your position on immigration reform if you are opposed to it, said Andrew Husda, CEO of CKE Restaurants and advisor to Mr. Romney's 2012 campaign. But I'll tell you one thing, it's the people of this country that run this country, and contributions and supporters are always important in presidential elections and other elections too, but votes trumps money. Amen.
Yes, yes, yes.
Trump money. Yeah. The national interest properly articulated by good candidates, expressed with conviction and professionalism, can carry the day, and will carry the day with regard to the future of this republic. Well, they got their money. They think they're entitled to having their way. But you have a vote, and it is every bit as valuable as their vote. Who is our constituents? Who does a politician take an oath to represent? Well, I'm a lawyer. I know what a trust is. I know what a corporation is. I know what a duty of a CEO is. It's to represent its stockholders. Well, for politicians, our duty is to represent the people,
That's right.
The citizens of this country. That's first and foremost. People aren't commodities. We owe them. They place their lives at stake for the future of our country. We send them into war and they say yes sir and no sir. They put their lives at risk. They follow the law. They teach their children to follow the law. And that is not a commodity. Amen. And a government owes them a reciprocal duty.
Amen.
It owes them a responsible commitment to their safety, their economic future, and for the integrity of their legal system and the heritage George Washington that y'all have given us. And I feel real strongly about it. But somehow we're in this la-la land.
Yes.
Like we don't even know who we represent. This is a steady erosion of the working Americans, the decent people who made this country great, who we owe our responsibility to. Their conditions have eroded. And we need to ask ourselves, what's happening? And we need a presidential candidate who talks to them and gets off these phone calls with donors with big bucks.
You spoke specifically about lessening the influence of donors on politicians, on Washington, how Republicans needed to become the party of the working man. So how would you lessen the influence of donors on politicians? Would you support any limits on contributions, political contributions?
I've not worried too much about contributions. What I think it's important for candidates to know that they can't tailor their message based on who's giving them money.
Right.
They have to articulate the great values and vision for America, what works for the average American. And if they're not talking to the average American, they are not going to win the election. Because it's more of those, 50 to 1 for every wealthy person. So, and that's the moral requirement of a politician, is to represent the people, and each voter, each struggling, hard-working Americans, his vote is worth just as much as a millionaire's vote.
I understand that, but when you're talking about like running for president, say, and Jeb Bush got into the race early so that he could, you know, really take all of these big fundraising bundlers out from the other candidates, right? So how do you have somebody compete against Jeb Bush if you need $1 billion to run?
Well, I think the candidates today, if they get their message out effectively and clearly, and it's understood by the voters, they will be stronger in the polls. And one of the ways you raise money is be stronger in the polls. And to be out there and be able to show strength, people will contribute, small contributions and others. So I think the most important thing right now is that a candidate not tailor their message with any idea about what contributions they get, but to tailor their message on what's right for America, what the people care about. And I think votes will come, which always trumps money.
Right.
Votes are more important than money. And I think it'll attract money too, sufficient money to win an election.
Undercurrent under the surface makes the mainstream get so nervous. It's time for purpose, for news to serve us, not with propaganda they use to hurt